football team.
We got our kicked today.
No basket! No basket! No basket! Hoyas win! Hoyas win! Hoyas win!
You got
First week in the books for high school teams across the state. And Nick and I had a blast covering the high school football blitz right here at Bristol. We covered that for WQBE, VSR, and WYNL. You got all those halftime scores, final scores, keeping up to date. We'll do that throughout the high school football season. We'll also have plenty of coverage here as well on this show with Tom Bragg every Monday, which we'll have him on today at 5:15. He was at the Nitro Polka game. He'll give us the rundown of that. Speaking of the Nitro Polka game, we will have Nitro High School head football coach Bryce Casto will join us at 5:30, and we'll talk about getting that first win of the season, winning that game 9-6 over Polka, battle for the barrel, and we'll talk about all that good stuff too. We'll also do a rundown of all the high school scores, breaking down some of those games, what's to look forward to for some of those teams in Class AAA, AA, and Single A. So loaded with high school stuff. Obviously, we'll do our breaking news. We're going to get to this Colin Kaepernick situation. I'll give you my thoughts on that. I've been listening all day long and over the weekend through multiple comments and things people are posting in regards to this whole situation. I'll give you my thoughts. And I'm excited to talk about it, actually, because this is a great thing about the show and having your own sports talk show is you get to go on the radio and have people either disagree or agree with you. It's a great thing. You don't just have Facebook and Twitter and those things. I can go on this show and tell you how I feel. And I'm going to tell you how I feel. And you can call in and let us know what you also feel with the Kaepernick situation once we talk about it at 304-344-9704. We're streaming at 95thesportsbox.com, simulcast on rsnsports.com. Follow us on Twitter at WBES Brandon Lowe and like us on Facebook. We're also streaming over at YouTube as well. We're going to try to keep that stream up today. It's been a work in progress. Let's go ahead and welcome in DJ Madlock.
What's up?
What up, Lowe?
Not much.
How was your weekend?
It was good. It was good.
Yeah, but you had to deal with your girlfriend's car. She had a flat tire on Thursday.
Yeah.
And her car her tire completely shredded. So you were going up and down where in your hometown and things of that sort, trying to get that figured out all weekend long, though, right?
Yeah, that was. Other than that part, it was good. That part was a disaster. I was driving like over and over and over to Huntington and to my mom and dad's in Mason County, and then even up to Middleport. So yeah, it was pretty crazy.
Well, I hope the rest of your weekend was okay.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, I salvaged a little bit of it. Yeah, and it came out. It was pretty good.
We had a hectic week last week. Of course, we had a good week. We covered the Paint the Capital City Green, which was a great event last Thursday. Got to talk to Doc Holliday, the president of the university, Dr. Gilbert. That was good stuff, too.
It was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. And then we covered all the high school football stuff on Friday for all of our other stations here at Bristol. And my weekend was pretty good, too. Got to spend some time with the family. I was really, really wore out after this week. So it's good to be Monday, start a new week. Big stuff this week, too, as we lead into game week for West Virginia University. The Mountaineers will take on Missouri this Saturday at noon. It's going to be the first SEC home opener in, I believe, 54 years. So big one for the Mountaineers, also at Gold Rush. My understanding is there's tickets still available for that game as well, so let's sell that crowd out. Also, Marshall, we'll get into some of that preview stuff. Doug Smock, who we have on the show on Wednesdays, does his preview and his predictions and a column that he put out today. We'll go over those as well today. Dan Holgerson took part in the Big 12 teleconference. We'll get to some of his comments in this article I have in front of me, as well as we'll get a look at some Big 12 stuff, our Let's Get Weird news to the end of the show, and feel-good story as well to end the show, which is a great thing. I love having those at the end of the show on as well. All right, before we get into our breaking news, real quick, RSN released their 2016 preseason fall section rankings as far as classes. This is crowds, like student sections, things of that sort. I'll give you the top 5 and get the rest over at rsnsports.com because I got to get to this breaking news. Class AAA, John Marshall at 1, Parkersburg South at 2, Musselman at 3, Martinsburg at 4, Hedgesville at 5. Class AAA, you're looking at R.C. Byrd, Nitro at 2, Bridgeport at 3, James Monroe at 4, Sissonville at 5. Class Single A, Williamstown, South Harrison at 2, Magnolia at 3, Fayetteville at 4. And the other 5 is cut off on my sheet. So you just got to go to rsnsports.com and get that. Sorry about that. That's our printer's fault, though, right?
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Blame the printer.
But go over to rsnsports.com, also on their Twitter, and they have all the top 10 student sections they voted on. They'll do it each week, and you can see where your student section ranks as far as, I think they do like creativity, loudness, people showing up, showing their pride. So get out there and go to those high school games and show your school pride. All right, let's get to our breaking news.
It's time for breaking news in sports, but it's still sports and news.
From the Brandon Lowe Show newsroom, I'm Brandon Lowe, and here's the news and sports. That's still sports and news.
All right, here's the news and sports. Sports still news. Last night, the MTV Music Video Awards were on. I don't watch them because I'm 30 and music videos have kind of gone by the wayside for me. I've listened to music probably from like the early 80s, early 90s. I like old school hip hop and some grunge music and things. So this music nowadays these kids are listening to, I didn't watch it. Me and the wife were like, should we watch it? And then we're like, we don't even know who half these artists are outside of Justin Timberlake and Adele. So, but an interesting moment at the MTV Video Music Awards. Ryan Lochte, who we've talked about on the show, and everybody across the country, the whole story of Lochte lying in regards to being robbed in Rio. Jimmy Fallon had a great thing that he did in his style. I mean, this is Jimmy Fallon. He's a Tonight Show host. So obviously he's going to come out. He's going to present, I believe it was the video, I'm trying to see what he was presenting here. Video of the Year Award, which went to Beyonce. But he comes out full dressed in Ryan Lochte gear. And here he is coming out to present the award.
Is it too late now to say sorry? That's my jam. That's my jam. It should be my jam. I wrote it. I wrote that song. I did it. I wrote it. I produced it. I directed the video. I did. It happened. In fact, I directed all 5 nominees for Video of the Year. What an amazing year I've had. It's true. I'm the one who gave Adele the flip phone. Hello? Hello? Oh my God, I gotta call you back. I had Carl waiting. I taught Drake the hotline bling guy. Said, dribble the basketball, get on the box. What a year I've had. I made lemonade with Queen Bey. I'm Reezy with the good hair. Come on. Anyway, who had the best video of the year? I can't tell you that. They're all so great and so talented, I could never choose. I couldn't tell you even if there was a gun to my head.
Ooh, so too soon, Nick, for the joke?
Maybe a little too soon. I mean, but that's Jimmy Fallon. He's gonna walk out on that branch, and he can do that.
I think you can get away with it because you're Jimmy Fallon, you're a Tonight Show host.
Yep.
You're expecting some sketches from Jimmy Fallon. Everybody was referencing when Jimmy Fallon, I think, hosted this whole thing in like 2002 or something like that.
But I think if you're willing to walk out there the way that he was looking, you might as well just go as far as you can go with it.
Yeah, he had the hair and everything. He had the whole outfit. Michael Phelps was sitting in the crowd, and the camera immediately panned to Michael Phelps, and he was just like, oh my
His reaction alone was priceless.
He loved it, and it was hilarious. For that, I'm sorry I missed that, because that would have been the best part of the entire thing. It probably was, okay? But that was hilarious. The joke, obviously, as Americans, we try to laugh at certain things. Now, here's something we're not going to be laughing about, and something that most people are very, very angry about. It was surfaced Friday evening during a preseason game. Colin Kaepernick, the quarterback for the 49ers, decided to sit out during the national anthem. Okay? Most people, if not everybody, in this country, when you're at a sporting event, athletes, fans, everybody at this sporting event stands up once they hear the national anthem. It's something we pride ourselves as Americans to stand up and show our honor for these military men and women who have given their lives and put their lives on the line, lost limbs or lost their own life for your rights here in this country. And I sat there and I pondered, and Nick asked me about my opinion about this whole thing before we even started the show. And this is what I'll say, okay? Colin Kaepernick certainly has the right to sit out if he wants to, okay? That's where the rights go hand in hand. It's your right to either stand or it's your right to not stand, okay? But the reason why you can do that is because of those military men that fight for this country and have laid out this whole clear path of freedom for you, the American citizen. And I'm not Democratic. I'm not Republican. I have no political fight, dog in this fight at all. I'm not speaking from any side of this whole spectrum. This is just me as Brandon, as an American citizen, telling you how I feel. And I've had plenty of family members who fought in the military. Nick, you have family members?
Yes.
My wife's dad, who was a veteran who's passed away. He's up there at the Veteran Memorial. So, taking that all in, okay? Understand that you have the right to sit. You have the right to stand. And in these transcripts, he's asked about the whole thing. And one of the things he says is that I'm not going to stand up to show pride in a flag for a country that oppresses black people and people of color. To me, this is bigger than football. It would be selfish on my part to look the other way. There are bodies in the street, people getting paid leave and getting away with murder. Again, what I said on Facebook before, there is no secret whatsoever there have been some unjust things involving people of color with the police. Okay, we understand that these things are happening, but this situation that you're speaking of has nothing to do with the people that fought for this country. Okay, these are two situations. You're taking that and putting it and basically turning your back against the entire country because you feel like nobody's doing enough for these situations. Okay, and I even referenced this before. You probably listening may or may not know these guys or gentlemen, but rappers Snoop Dogg and The Game. Okay, two rappers who have experienced this firsthand of police harassment or brutality. What did they do? They walked down to the Los Angeles Police Department, shook hands with officers, and asked what they could do to kind of mend this broken system that we got going on right now. Activism is definitely shown in different ways, whether you're outside with signs or whether you want to sit during the national anthem. We understand he's trying to be an activist here. But look at it this way too, Colin Kaepernick. If you're trying to make a difference, and how do you make a difference, Nick? I've said this before. You're a good representation of a role model that you can pass on to new generations. How do you become a role model? Well, you show them the right thing to do. And to me, sitting down during the national anthem is not the right thing to do. But speaking out and being an activist in the community and being active in your community and getting all people of all colors together and join as one to get rid of this whole black versus white, white versus black, or police versus, everybody involved. You get what I'm saying here? We need actually everybody to come together because I feel like we're letting the media, the mainstream media, ignite this as well. I feel like Colin Kaepernick, I feel like he had every right to do it. But was it the right thing to do at that time? And this is also a guy that was fined $11,000 for saying a racial slur on the field. So, it's right. But was it right? When we come back, we're going to bring on Tom Brett. We're going to talk some high school football, what happened on Friday night. Excited to talk to him and get his take on all these games that happened across the Mountain State. You can call the show 304-344-9704. Back after this, Brandon Lowe Show, 95 The Sports Box.
Hear your opinion.
That's just like your opinion, man.
On the top sports stories, locally or nationally, on The Brandon Lowe Show. Call 304-344-9704.
The state of West Virginia, you reap what you sow. We grew up out there on a farm. My dad was a coal miner, so we put in a day's work. Just the mentality and the culture of West Virginia of just going out and earning what you can and putting in a day's work really helped me in this business.
Listen to The Brandon Lowe Show weeknights at 5 on 95 The Sports Box.
This is the Dan Patrick Show.
I just like to say that y'all rock, man.
LeBron is the most, and we can have another conversation. No, we are talking.
It's 9 to noon on 95 The Sports Fox.
Follow the show on Twitter at Brandon Lowe. You can also listen to The Brandon Lowe Show on your TuneIn app or at 95thesportsfox.com. Now, back to The Brandon Lowe Show on 95 The Sports Fox.
All right, welcome 5 to Sports Box, streaming at 95thesportsbox.com, simulcast on RSN Sports.
Not a whole lot. What's going on, man?
Oh, man, just excited to jump into this action happened on a lot of good game, the battle for the barrel. Was it the pretty...
Abbott had an absolutely outstanding game. I don't have the numbers here in front of me, but I know he threw for a couple hundred. For 18 kids on the roster, so you're going to have a lot of kids playing two ways. And it's just hard to compete at any level when it's like that, especially against a team like Buffalo that's got just all the talent in the world, and guys like the quarterback Ethan Burgess and the running back Dylan Lucas. Lucas ran for 230 yards on 15 carries. He scored 5 touchdowns, 3 of them on the ground. He had a receiving touchdown. He picked up a fumble and ran it back. He's our Gazette-Mail Kanawha Valley Player of the Week for that, because how do you beat 230 and 5 touchdowns with a couple on the ground and a defensive touchdown in there? So I think it was business as usual for Buffalo. We'll see what kind of Sims Valley, Ohio team comes into Putnam County this week. Might be a good game down there.
All right, he's Tom Bragg. Mr. Bragg, we'll talk to you next Monday, and appreciate the time as always, brother.
All right, thanks, man. We'll do it again then.
All right, he's Tom Bragg, Gazette-Mail web editor. He's always talking high school football with us every Monday, so be sure to tune in every Monday. And we'll give you the breakdown of the games previously on Friday. Also looking towards the next games, big games, good big matchups for these teams are starting to rank in these polls through the Gazette-Mail and everybody else doing. And like you said, some of these rankings. Wheeling Park at 3, Capital at 4, Morgantown at 5, Huntington at 6, South Charleston at 7, Musselman at 8, Cabell Midland at 9, University at 10. That rounds off your top 10 for Class AAA. We were to Class AA, Bridgeport at 1, Fairmont Senior at 2, Point Pleasant at 3, 6, Kaiser, 7, James Monroe, 8, Bluefield, 9, Herbert Hoover. Like Tom mentioned, Herbert Hoover moving into that bottom half of the top 10. And Robert C. Byrd still hanging in the top 10 at 10. Class A, Wheeling Central at 1, East Hardy at 2, Williamstown at 3, Buffalo. That Dylan Lucas kid is unreal. 230 yards, 5 touchdowns, and a defensive touchdown. Pretty sure that kid's going to be in the talk about the State Player of the Year. Summers County at 10 in single A. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to have Nitro High School head football coach Bryce Casto. We'll go to the game, what he's seen out of his team, and preparing for that big, another rival, St. Albans, this week. Class AAA team. Always a good one. Battle of the Bridge. All right, back after a short break. Brandon Lowe Show, 95 to Sports Fox.
You're listening to The Brandon Lowe Show on 95 The Sports Fox.
I'll hear your opinion.
That's just like your opinion, man.
On the top sports stories, locally or nationally. On The Brandon Lowe Show, call 304-344-9704.
Jim Rome, only on CBS Sports Radio.
David Griffin joining us. He's the GM of the Cavaliers. Is the MVP award for the most valuable player, or is it for the best player?
If he is valuable, I just don't see any way that there's a player that means more to our league or to his team than LeBron does or than Michael did. I certainly think the Seattle are historically good, but in terms of value to a league, I think LeBron is the face of this league just as Michael Jordan was.
The Jim Rome Show, noon to 3 on 95 The Sports Fox.
Show to this. J Moore Sports.
Yeah! This is maybe the coolest team ever. Now I'm rooting for the Texas Rangers. You got to name an Odor that punches you in the face. You think that guy's going to pick up a tab at all for the rest of the year, anywhere that team goes? And by the way, I got news for you. Between the Toronto Blue Jays and the Texas Rangers, I would way rather be a Ranger today. That's some solidarity, my friend.
J Moore Sports.
Afternoons at 3 on 95 The Sports Fox.
Follow the show on Twitter at WBES Brandon Lowe. You can also listen to The Brandon Lowe Show on your TuneIn app or at 95thesportsfox.com. Now, back to The Brandon Lowe Show on 95 The Sports Fox.
All right, we got Bryce Casto. He's no stranger to the show. Coach, how you doing, brother?
Well, we got to win, Brandon, so that makes the disposition a little sunnier, makes the spring in the step a little better. So that's good for us.
Battle for the barrel. A lot of turnovers, some slow-moving offense, some penalties. Obviously, something that you're going to see in the first game. I mean, you don't want to see that as a coach, but you're certainly going to see some things in the first game. And like you mentioned, you're heading off to film work, so I'm sure there's plenty of stuff to show the kids.
Yeah, it's early. It was an ugly game. It really was. We played well on defense. Teams, and that's really what brought us through. But we had numerous hiccups on offense, as did Polka. But when I looked at the on Saturday morning, there were a lot of teams that really struggled on offense. The young men on the team, we need to, there's a lot of that we can critique starting.
And Poca, like you mentioned, played really good defense, stacking up the box at times and forcing him to throw the ball, put him kind of in some uncomfortable positions. But you like that he stepped up and made a big play to hit wide receiver Corey Rogers, and then Rogers went on to score an 87-yard touchdown. So, you have to like that your quarterback still, settled in and made some plays.
Yeah, that was 3rd and 15, too. Brandon, when we hit that play, we were on our 13-yard line, and he, there's a great shot of Corey. It was in the paper that actually shows the scoreboard and him running out in front of the Poca defender. That just shows, it's 3rd and 15, the ball in 13, and we're not doing much. And we just did a little slant route. We got an inside release. They didn't have anybody in the middle of the field. We saw that, and we figured he was going to cash it in for us, and did.
Looking at your next game, you're going to be facing off against a well-known rival, St. Albans. This is big for your kids, not only just rivals, but as you look at 44 teams in AA, and playoff points are definitely big for you guys. So if you can get a win over a AAA team, it's big for the playoff point stuff, but also you get a big win over a
have 2 rivalry games, and they're right out of the chute for us. They're in opposite years at home, so and neither one of them are very far away. And to come back this week again with an awful win with St. Albans, which is equally as large a rival as Poca, and it's going to help. And it ought to be a spirited game. Ought to be a large crowd, and of course the early forecast looks nice night and not quite as warm as it's been. So we'll enjoy that atmosphere. Ought to be a lot of fun on Friday.
Coach, we appreciate, and you got the film going and practice and things. We appreciate you taking the time to talk to us.
Thanks. We found a way to win, and that's a game that we would have probably lost in the past.
Yep.
And that's what I'm going to point out. In fact, we're down 6-0. We run an and they literally pick it and scoop it in our running. And instead of our running back holding his head down, and he runs the kid out of bounds to 15, and we get a stop down there. That one play probably keeps us from losing the ball, and that happens in the first quarter. So you just never know. And that's what I'm going to point to him is the effort and playing through and not letting the mistake beat us twice. So it was fun.
All right, buddy. Good luck against St. Albans this week.
Be a part of the show. Let the Valley hear your opinion.
That's just like your opinion, man.
On the top sports stories, locally or nationally, on the Brandon Lowe Show, 344-9704. Sports.
Russell Wilson gave the commencement speech at the University of Wisconsin this weekend. Okay. What Russell Wilson had to say.